Alright guys, let's go and get started with what we are going to be needing for today. Today we have here our week 19 task card. Today, Thursday, we are going to be doing the cucumber hand treatment. If you're on campus, you're doing it on yourself. If you're at home, you can do it on yourself or you can do it on someone, okay? Keeping in mind the anatomy that you've learned, the direction of the muscles, the massage manipulations, keeping in mind everything that we've learned this far. You're going to incorporate all of that when you get to certain steps during this particular treatment or service, okay? All right, so we're going to put that to the side. I have this white paper for the white balance. To take it off, it makes it really bright and hard to see, but you'll need your markers or something to write with, so make sure you have that, and your journal, okay, to start. So we yesterday did the foot manipulations, the massage techniques. You pick the best one and you compared and contrasted them both. And today on this side here, and if you're out of order, no big deal, but this is where we're at. We're doing our notes on the service. So just like we did, let me go back here, just like we did the jelly spa, the manicure bath, the bead soak, and we did the needs list, the steps, and the notes, we're going to continue to do that as we're doing this particular service. So we do offer this service in the salon, okay? So it is something that make sure you take pictures of and let your friends and family know. Once we start doing salon days again, you're able to offer this service, okay? It's a 15-minute long service, sometimes 20, but we'll try to keep it all the services between 15 minutes or within 15 minutes. But this one here is the one of the favorites actually because of the smell. It smells so good, and once you try it or you start doing it, you'll smell it and you'll be able to smell it throughout the entire department. Okay, all right, so we're going to quickly go over the notes. So you can pause here, pause the video, you can copy, you can listen to me and write down, you can push play, pause, you can do the service and then come back and do your notes. Totally up to you, okay? But you have to make sure that you have your notes because you've got to take a picture of your notes and then you're going to take a picture of you doing the service, okay? It doesn't have to be of your face, it just has to be of your setup and you know, getting your hands in there. Those two pictures are going to be in your PowerPoint that you're going to submit on Friday of proof that you've done your work for this particular day, okay? Remember, every day is 20 points. So 5 slides in the PowerPoint, Monday through Friday, each one is 20 points, okay? Either you did it or you didn't. All right, so cucumber hand treatment. Supplies that we're going to be needing are your bowl, water towels, your rinse bottle. If you don't have one, just a little scoop, and if not, you can just rinse in the bowl, is fine. Your stones, a spatula, and a liner, your processing cap. Okay, if you don't have any more liners, no problem. Just use the bowl. Just make sure clean it really good, regardless if you have the liner or not, but just make sure you clean it extra good, okay? Product-wise, you need your soap, your scrub, your mask, and your lotion, okay? And all of this, we're going to show you all these supplies, and we're going to go and walk through the steps and perform them together, okay? All right, so here are the steps. You're going to clean and organize and sanitize and professional setup and all that good stuff, okay? You're going to soak your hands for 5 minutes, scrub the hands. You're going to rinse, you're going to apply the mask, let that sit for 5 minutes, you're going to remove the mask, and you're going to massage the hands for 5 minutes using the massage manipulations that you learned the other day, okay? Your notes, anything that you kind of stand out or you want to remember, you can write down. But one thing I want to let you know is that you can, and obviously not right now, but you can, while you're doing the service, to remove the mask, use a warm, wet towel. And not wet dripping, but just they're wet and we put them in the towel warmer so they're nice and warm, but you can use a warm towel to remove the mask, okay? It doesn't get hard or cakey or cracky or anything of the sort, or cracky, that's not a word. It doesn't crack and crumble, but it just, just really does help with that warm towel to remove all the product a lot easier, okay? So those are the supplies and those are the steps. So we're gonna put our notes to the side. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and set up. I have so many electronic things here on my table. I hope I do not spill this water. Okay, so we need our bowl, we need our liner, and we have hot water in here. Okay, remember if the water is really warm, that's what you want it because it's going to get cold with the temperature of the room, especially in the winter months. Okay. If it's too hot, let your client put their hands in, bring them out, put them in, bring them out, put them in, bring them out. Let the hands get acclimated to the temperature of the water. That way, if they say, oh, it's too hot, put cold water in it, you go and you put cold water in it, and then it gets cold really fast, and then they say, oh, it's too cold. Well, now you got to go put warm water. Well, now it's too full, so you got to empty the water out, and it's a big mess, okay? I would say about half of the bowl full of warm water would be good. You do need a towel. Okay, so I've got my towel here to the side. You need your squeezy bottle. So if you're at school, you know where these are. Go grab you one. Make sure to sanitize them when you're done. Okay, empty them all out. But you squeeze it and it rinses the product off of the hands. If you don't have this at home, no worries. Just use the same water, or you can have whoever you're doing that on, or yourself go to the sink and rinse. Not a problem. Okay. You're going to have your beads. Okay. We've used these in the soak, and then you're going to have your 4 products. Okay. Anytime that you're doing this, if you're working with a client, now obviously we pre-package these for packet pickup for you to take home and to have during this COVID at-home teaching learning situation. But you can have these in little Dixie cups like this, and so it's very easy just to pour and then just throw away. No washing, cleaning, none of that. Or you can pour your product out on a pallet. Okay, that's also an option. So we have our soak, we have our scrub, we have our mask, and our lotion. Now, the lotion, it has the container, they're both the same. The mask is a little bit more green than the lotion, and there's more of the mask and less of the lotion. So your container should not be full with the lotion, but it should be full with the mask. So that's how you know the difference of the two. The more empty one is the lotion, the more full one is the mask. And it's mask, M-A-S-Q-U-E, not M-A-S-K, because it's not like a face mask. That's the shape of a face, okay? And of course, we have our spatula. That is disposable, and we do not reuse that, so we throw that away. All right, so those are our supplies that we need. Obviously, you want to take a picture of this. You want to post on social media. Let's take our stones out of the bag so it looks nicer. Okay. And you want to, if you're going to keep your stuff in little baggies, when your bag it gets dirty, or if it gets kind of wrinkly and old looking, you want to change them out frequently. Okay, you don't want a little raggedy little bag and pour things out because it's unsanitary. So you want to change your bags out very often. Okay. All right. Especially if you put anything dirty in it, throw it out. Just if you keep clean things in there, keep it clean. All right, so take a picture, nice, neat, professional setup. If you're doing this at home, make sure you have good lighting, okay? All right, so now what you're going to do is, now that you have all your things, okay, you're going to go ahead and take your soak, and you're going to pour your soak in. Now, once you're done with this, then you can go ahead and throw this away, okay? So I have my little bag here to the side with where I'm going to put all my stuff, my trash, and then I'm just going to take the bag and just throw it away. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and dip my hands in, and if you're doing this on a client, have them dip their hands in. You're going to feel, the client's going to feel the beads at the bottom, not the gem beads, but the actual product beads, and just tell them to play with the gems, okay, these beads, and mix the water around with the product until it's dissolved. So that's going to take a good 5 minutes. Now, a lot of the times what I like to do is, because we don't have the whole towel set up here, but I like to put a towel underneath in case they dip their hands, or if they kind of move in their chair a little bit. If they push the bowl this way, like right here with their wrist, the water spills. And so I always like to put an extra towel down here at the bottom. That way, if it does spill, it doesn't spill onto them or their pants or the front of their pants. It spills onto the towel. Okay, so we're going to do 5 minutes. So pause the video here for 5 minutes. and then push play. Because I'm not going to do the whole 5 minutes. I'm just going to roll through the service, but I'm not going to do the entirety of the time that you need to do. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video, soak for 5 minutes, and then come back and push play, ready for the next service step. All right, now that you've soaked for 5 minutes, or you've soaked your client's hands for 5 minutes, okay, you want to go ahead and also or one thing I forgot to mention, a lot of times the clients will just soak their fingers, okay? You want them to, tell them, or you come in and pour some of the water on the back of their hands, because you also want to make sure to soften that dead skin on the back of the hands, especially in the winter months, and especially now because we're doing so much hand sanitizer. A lot of people's hands are cracked and have dead skin. So if you soften that up, okay, then you want to if you're planning on softening it up, you want to tell your clients to scoop some water on the back of their hands, or you come in and do it. You can use your hand, where if you don't want to dip your entire hand in to scoop some water up, you can take the cup itself, rinse it out, and then just pour some of the water on the back of their hands. Okay, so that's one thing I failed to mention. So I don't get my whole tablecloth wet here. I'm just going to put this to the side, but that should be in your trash can or trash bag. Okay. All right, moving on. You're going to take your towel and you're going to dry the hands. And whenever you're drying hands, you don't want to bundle up the towel and just kind of like rough dry it. You want to extend the towel, put the hand down, okay, and then roll the towel over, okay, and gently pat, or you can fold it in a square, and you're going to pat and go in between the fingers, nice and smooth. Okay. All right, so the next thing that I want to do, and this is where it's going to get messy, so I'm going to have my next piece ready. I'm going to go ahead and open up my mask and my scrub. Okay, I feel like I'm going to make a mess on this table with all of these cameras. Okay. All right, so from here, you're going to, what I always do, this is a lot of product for one hand. This is great for hand and arm, but this is a lot for one set of hands. I would do half of this for a set of hands. So if you want to save this for later, you can. If not, no big deal. But because I'm going to throw this away, I might as well use all the product and not throw the product away. So I'm going to split that down the middle, okay? And I'm going to half for one hand and half for the other hand. And if you just don't use all of it, no big deal, because it is a lot of product. Okay, you can do probably 4 hand scrubs with that much product. All right, so I'm going to scoop it up, and I'm going to come in and do circular rotations, and I'm working over my water. If you're doing this on yourself, then you can feel the pressure and how vigorous you're working, whether it hurts, because of course you've got the salt here, or the sugar. Actually, it's not salt, it's sugar. And you can feel if it feels good or if it's a little bit too much. A lot of the times on the palms, you kind of, it tickles, and you kind of feel it in your throat a little bit. It's kind of a weird sensation. So when you're doing this on a client, ask them if it feels uncomfortable. Like right there, I feel it in my throat and I'm getting goosebumps. If it feels uncomfortable, you want your client to feel comfortable to tell you, hey, you want to make sure that you let me know if you're uncomfortable at any part of the service, and we'll stop, or we'll move on to the next step, or we won't do that technique again, okay, or that manipulation. You want to make sure your clients feel comfortable, okay, and relaxed. All right, so you want to go through, same as the massage manipulations that you have learned from the other day. You want to do them in the scrub manner and circular rotation. So the scrub, just like the facial scrubs that you learned last year, okay, is to remove the dead skin, to stimulate blood flow, okay, and really get all that dead skin off. So if you were to be working on the elbow, hand, and arm treatment or service, you definitely go all the way to the elbow, okay? But right now we're just doing the hands, and that's the difference between when we offer these services. If they say hand service or hand treatment, it's only the wrist down. If they say hand and arm, you got to go all the way to the elbow, okay? All right, so then I'm going to show you the 2 different ways, okay? So if you're doing it on yourself, you can dip into your water. Okay, very careful and try not to splash. And if you were to be doing this on a client, if you don't have a squeezy bottle, you can do it this way as well. You want to rinse the product off of your fingertips first and then off of your palms. Okay, so that way this part is pretty clean as far as not having any of the sugar on it. And then you want to come in and go to the top, back, and wrist area because it'd be a lot easier to rinse that way. Now you don't want to go fast. You want to take your time. You want to go slow so you don't splash. There's no rush. I'm rushing through this to get the video, in a good amount of time. But you can pause the video at any time if you need to take a little bit longer. So don't feel like you need to rush just so that you can watch, keep up with my recording of this, okay? Pause the video at any time if you need extra time. Okay, and immediately you're going to feel the softness in the hands. You're going to feel a little bit of the oils that are mixed into in the scrub on the hand, and it's going to have an extra little bit of shine, okay? That's the product. This water, well, as soon as the client put their hands in it, obviously it's dirty, okay? But this water is now extra dirty because now the scrub is in there. So if you need to do any other kind of rinse, you might want to have a second bowl, put this to the side and put the fresh water in, and then do a second rinse. That's a choice. You can have them go to the sink. That's another choice. Or you can have this squeezy bottle, okay? And again, the squeezy bottle, you're just going to squeeze the bottle and then the little stream of water comes out and you can just rinse, okay, to get that extra amount. Oh my gosh, I'm making a mess. To get that extra amount of or extra product off of the hands should you need to, okay. Now your hands, if you have oily hands, this will get dirty. So after each use, I wash this bottle with soap and water and then spray with disinfectant, okay, because sometimes my hands are oily, and then if I don't wash this gets gross, plus it's unsanitary. Okay, after you rinse, you want to go ahead and pat dry the hands. And again, you can pause the video should you need more time and then come back and push play. Go in between the fingers and pat dry. Okay. Now we're going to take our spatula, scrape off as much as you can. Okay. If you have another spatula, great, but I forgot and I only told you to bring one spatula, so we're going to work with what we had. Let's say that you only have one spatula. Because this is not an original container of product and you're not going to use this again, you can use your fingers to scoop this out, okay? But I'm using the spatula to show you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the mask. I'm going to come in, I'm going to stir it up a little bit, half on one hand, half on the other hand. So I'm going to scoop it up. Half of the product because I'm going to just throw it away, so I might as well use it, although I didn't really use all that on the scrub. Alright, so if you're doing it on a person, so let me show you. If you're doing it on someone, then you want to come in and you want to apply on the bottom of the palms. This is where you apply a mask with your hands. Now, typically we would use a brush, but obviously we're not going to go do that right now. But you could use your hands, you can use a brush or a spatula to apply the mask. And there's different kinds of brushes. Sometimes when you go to the spas or the nail shops, they'll apply the mask on the legs and the feet with their own hands. And sometimes they use brushes, so there's different ways to do it, okay? So you want to go from the wrist down, you want to cover the entirety of the palm, the fingertips in between, the webs, and the back, okay? Now your opposite hand is dirty, okay? So now you just have to work with, picking things up if you're doing it on yourself. If you're doing it on someone, then it's a little bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of the product, scoop it up in my hand. Okay, put this to the side, throw away. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to cover my palm, the back of my hand, each finger, my webs, underneath my fingertips. Okay, I'm going to give me a nice thick layer. Depending on what kind of mask that you are using and the manufacturer's directions, sometimes they require a thin layer and sometimes they require a thick layer. It just depends. So you have to follow the directions. All right, so you're going to let this sit for 5 minutes. So here's some options, and obviously, you know, the warm towels are not an option for us right now, but you could, okay, take both hands and wrap them up in a wet, warm towel. That's an option. You could put them in mitts, okay, a dry heat type of prepped heat mitt, which means that they're in the warmer but they're dry, or the mitt in the warmer and they're wet. Okay, you can wrap them in cellophane and plastic wrap. Okay, or you can just leave them out. Totally, it's just a different variety again, depending on what the mask and manufacturer calls for. Okay, so pause your video for 5 minutes and come back and push play when your time is up. Okay, let's say your time is up. So removal, various ways. One, you can take, if you have them in the mitts, you can take the mitt and remove the product with the mitt, and it's like a towel type material, so you can use a mitt to remove. You could use, have them go to the sink and rinse. You can rinse with a squeezy bottle. You can rinse with a new bowl of water, or you can rinse with a warm, wet towel or just a towel, okay? Me in my situation right now, I'm gonna go ahead and rinse with this water that I have here. Typically, I would use a fresh bowl, but I only had one of these bowls here at my house where I'm recording the video. So I didn't do a second option of this, okay? So it's okay. All right, so I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna rinse. Now this is mask, okay? So it is going to be kind of like a weird feeling coming off, and it's going to be oily, maybe a little bit greasy, and it's going to take a second to remove, okay? But if this were to be a clean, fresh bowl of water, then it wouldn't look, the water wouldn't look as dirty, okay? Because it would be clear water mixing with this product instead of green water mixing with the product. And the green came from the soak and the scrub, okay? As long as you can use the same bowl. It's not ideal, but you can if that's in the situation that you're in. And you want to just make sure, okay, that you're using the same bowl for the same person. I know that sounds silly, but you would be surprised. But you want to make sure that at least the water stays warm for them. So if you need to add a little bit more warm water on the bowl, you can. But again, ideally, you want to make sure that you have an extra clean bowl of water. You can have the client go to the sink. That's not a problem. Anytime you have the clients go to the sink, you want to make sure that the sink is clean. If it's the dispensary sink, make sure there's not like a bunch of stuff laying around in the sink, on the counters. Make sure there's clean towels available for your client. Make sure there's not a clutter. You want to make sure it's nice, clean, and organized anyway, because that's how it's supposed to be. But definitely when you send clients in there, and the bathrooms as well. Okay, so I took off most all of the product. You can see the product here, and the water has changed color. So now I'm going to take my squeezy bottle, and I'm just going to give it a good rinse to get all of that water off of me, since I rinsed in the same from the same water. Now I could have rinsed with the squeezy bottle. It would have taken me longer because I needed to move the product and emulsify it to remove, because it was really stuck on there. Okay, and again, depending on the manufacturer's directions, you want to make sure to follow what the manufacturer's directions say. Okay, you're going to come in and you're going to towel dry the hands. They're going to feel nice and refreshed. You want to make sure to dry the hands fully, okay? Once you dry the hands fully with the towel, and you can use a new towel because your towel at this point should be pretty wet, after the soak and after the scrub. Okay, so you can use a new towel. Let the hands kind of sit off to the side for a minute. Okay, then what you want to do is you want to remove this because this is done. Okay, so you want to remove this from the in front of your client. Now I'm not saying you necessarily are going to go dump it into the sink and wash it right this second while you're working with your client. I'm just saying just get it out from in front of her or him so you can do the hand massage. So we're just going to take this. And I'm just going to put this to the side here with my towel so I don't drop it or spill it. And don't forget that your beads are in there. So make sure to sanitize, sterilize, disinfect, all of that every single time. Okay? And then your little containers, you don't need them anymore. So once you're kind of cleaning up here, what you're going to do is you're gonna, and of course you can use your finger on this one. I'm gonna emulsify this just a little bit, mix it up. And then I'm just gonna scoop up some lotion. Now this is way too much lotion. If I were to take all of this and apply it on my hands, that's way too much lotion. Okay, I think maybe for one hand that might be even a lot. Okay, you have to know your product too. So I'm just gonna apply my lotion on myself, but what I want you to do is that I want you to go through your massage manipulations that you learned from the other day. Do your technique, okay, that you chose, and you want to do 3 times each on both hands, okay? Whatever the manipulation is, making sure if you have someone you can do it on, doing your tapotement, your effleurage, your petrissage, okay? Your lotion, when you're doing your massage, you'll notice the lotions will turn white because you're emulsifying it so much. But as you're doing the massage, you'll notice that the lotion will begin to dry out a little bit, and then the white will go away. Okay, a lot of the times clients don't, so pause here, massage for 5 minutes, and then you can come back. Okay, a lot of the times clients do not like the feel of lotion, so you can get them a dry or wet towel and let them wipe the bottom of the palm of the hand to get that sticky residue, that product feel out. But encourage them to leave the back of the hands as is. If it's too much, just have them, put some and rub it on their arms just to get rid of some of that product. But you want to encourage them to leave it on the back of their hands so that their hands are nice, neat, and moisturized. As we get older, the back of our hands age and the skin wrinkles, and so you always want to make sure to encourage your client and teach your client to keep their hands moisturized, so that way they reap the benefit of that when they get older. Okay, so that is the cucumber service. So you want to throw everything away, empty the bottle, soap and water wash, disinfect, dump the water out. You want to throw the liner out, soap and hot water wash the bowl and the beads. You want to disinfect those, and then also to make sure to dry them before you put them away. Okay, the bowl, make sure you don't stack it up. If it's wet, shouldn't be wet, it should be completely dry. But you want to make sure that you don't leave those bowls wet and stack them up, because then they rust, and then we've got to throw them away because you can get an infection from that. All right, so that is your cucumber service. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, please let me know, and you have a good day.